Actually a person who had started this whole movement, or if it stood for something, so I'm glad I found out. Thanks for the video. Hey, it's really great to see a diverse group of people here. Sometimes in Kisumu it's all one group in a different situation, so well, I do compare them. I don't know what the comedian was saying, for those of you who heard earlier, that you can't compare them. Well, I compare it all the time. It's just a natural thing that happens. And when you leave your home and you go to another place, you start just doing comparisons. It just happens. You think about, well, if I were home, this is the way it would be, or maybe this is what I'd like to change. I tend to think about the things I like about Kenya, about the strengths that Kenya has. One of the things I love about Kenya is the sense of community and the sense of family. How many of you agree, a show of hands, that there's a sense of community and sense of family here? Do any of you agree with that? Okay, great. So it's not just me. Thank you. I tend to feel like where I come from in the States, people are kind of disconnected. It's fairly easy for you to kind of go in your own place and go in your own time. Here in Kenya, I always tend to feel like one of the things that we really have going for us here is the social capital. Yeah? The way that people work together. Otherwise, Harambe's would never work. If you brought a group of people together, I think in the States, and just said, just give us your money. It doesn't just go as easily as that. There has to be some kind of catch. Like you have to buy this to get the money. Yeah, you have to purchase the dinner. You have to buy the t-shirt. It doesn't exactly work the same way. Yeah? And there's just this constant sense of feeling of we really know each other. Yeah? I mean, people stop by in our house all the time. And they don't call and say, hey, I'm coming over. You know, they just come. It's not easy to get used to, by the way, for Americans, the fact that you never know who's coming over. You invite one person for dinner and it turns out to be 10 people. Those are things that are very hard to get used to. But it's one of the things that as I have gotten used to it, I've really loved it. And I think it's one of the things that we can embrace. One of the things, however, about Kisumu that has frustrated me over the years is it's, you know the term carpe diem? You know carpe diem, seize the day. I think it's something that Kenyans do really well. Really, really well. Seize the day. You know, like my friend got a new job and he has a contract for 1 year and his salary suddenly went from like 10,000 to 10,000. So he was living in Manyatta. First thing he did, what did he do? Kenyans, you can tell me, what did he do? Okay, second thing he did, he moved. Now he moved to, like, he went from Manyatta to Migosi, and then he took a loan to buy a car. Yeah? There's something about Kenyans with seizing the day. And I'm talking about this because we're in Kisumu. This is TEDxKisumu, right? So let's talk about local things, yeah? There's something about Kenyans in seizing the day, yeah? And in most cases, I would say seizing the day is really important. It's about being adventurous. It's about taking life, you know, in the grip of your hands and never losing opportunities. But I think sometimes what I've seen here is that that attitude of seize the day tends to lead to other things that are not always beneficial for the long run. And I kind of equate it to a survival mentality. That's why I kind of gave my title Surviving to Thriving. I think of it as survival tactics, sometimes about self-preservation, about doing things for the moment, yeah? About thinking just about the moment. That's what I usually see. You can even see it in the way people walk across the road. Have you ever compared how people walk across the road in Nairobi to how they walk across the road in Kisumu? Has anyone ever compared? In Nairobi, if you walk slowly, you're dead. Isn't it? If you walk slowly across the road, you're dead. You have to run across the road. Like, they don't care. But it's like living for the day. Yeah? They're surviving. And you see, it's not just surviving literally. I'm not just talking about the idea of poverty in hand to mouth, which of course is there, and we all see it. It's there. But it's even a figurative kind of survival. Yeah? It's even figurative. Because survival, that self-preservation is about the moment. How many times do you sit on a bus, coming on Easy Coach from Nairobi to Kisumu, and someone buys a yogurt container, and there is a wastebasket in the bus. By the way, that did change some years ago. They didn't used to have them. But there is a wastebasket in the bus. But people open the window and throw it out. Why? Because of the moment. It's the moment you're thinking. I I don't really feel like holding this yogurt for the next 2 hours. I don't want to get up and put it in the basket. I throw it out the window. I've seen everyone else do it. That's what I do. That's the kind of thinking I see a lot here. Just like momentary thinking, self-preservation thinking. Some other examples of that. You see a girl. Girl doesn't have sanitary pads. Yeah, she has a problem. What does she do? She has a boyfriend. Yeah, the boyfriend can give her money, or he can give her sanitary pads, or maybe she can even go to the shopkeeper. Now that girl has a decision. Yeah, she doesn't ask what she do. She kind of gives herself away. Yeah, it's a momentary decision, kind of a survival tactic. And I'm not saying not all girls even do it for sanitary pads. Some girls even do it just to go to club at night. Yeah? I'm not saying it's always even the best reasons, but the truth is there are a lot of things that happen because of the moment. Yeah? Of what we want to see happen in the moment. Sometimes it's not just about persons. It's even if you look at Kisumu, yeah? Right now, if you look at Kisumu, I'm amazed. I have to be honest. I live on the Migosi side, and I constantly have an argument or debate with my husband about is Kisumu getting better or is it getting worse? I tend to be a little bit more pessimistic. And the one thing I always look at, yeah, is some years ago, 2-3 years ago, UN Habitat brought all these receptacles. Do you guys remember when all the receptacles started showing up in town? The big brown iron containers? You remember? And it was a move to try to make Kisumu cleaner. But what do you find happen? Is that instead of people putting the rubbish in the receptacle, and in Migosi, in an area where it's at least middle class, where people have some education, the people in Migosi, and I count myself, we're around all these people, yeah? Are sending out people to throw rubbish anywhere they want. If you drive down the road from Migosi, the junction to Kenyan, you will find nothing but rubbish and mostly diapers along the side of the road. Yeah? It's the momentary thinking. Someone thinking to themselves, I'd rather not spend 200 shillings a month to have someone come and collect my rubbish and put it into a controlled environment than to have my house help go and throw it in the ditch. It's just that kind of momentary thinking. And that's the kind of thinking that I feel like we're trying to encourage people to get away from. I work for Kisumu Youth Football Association. I don't want to talk about my organization much. Basically, it's football, but sports for development. And we use that football to get the kids' attention. It's not just sports for the sake of sports. It's because we can use it to get inside their heads. Yeah? And one of the things we did this year was we said, hey, yeah, we've lost a lot of trees in Kisumu. Kisumu is not a very green place anymore. Remember that park over here on the Old Town area that was grabbed and all the trees were cut down? And luckily, people said something and it was stopped and the trees have been replanted. That was a really cool thing that happened, the way that people reacted. We want to see more of that. So we told our kids in Kaifa, we were going to raise money, yeah? And what we did is we went to United Millers and we said, we want a CSR project. We want to partner with you to raise money for Kaifa, but do something that's good for Kisumu. And this is something that's different for kids. Kids here, I'm sorry, they're not brought up with the idea of community service. Yeah? You're not brought up with the idea that you have a responsibility in the community to do something. If you go to a public school in Kisumu, it's go pick up that trash. If you don't, it's not about a sense of having pride in your community, and we have to change that. So what we did, United Millers came in, and they said, we're gonna sponsor you for every tree that you plant. Yeah, so our kids this year planted 10,000 trees all over Kisumu. And United Millers paid us for every single tree. And it was just a cool way of saying, you know what? This is a way of partnering. But I got the kids to think. The kids actually didn't get anything specific from that, other than the fact that now the leagues are running and they're playing football. The whole point of it was to encourage the kids to think outside of themselves, outside of the moment. This tree is going to help you in the future. Right now, Kisumu's kind of brown, it's looking a little bushy. 5 years from now, we're going to have trees in this particular place. Yeah? It's the same thing with our kids when we send them on cleanups, and when they tell us they want to go and do a cleanup. It's not just about the moment, throwing something out the window and not having to worry about it. We want to get people to start thinking, this area is mine. it's ours, yeah? And it's much bigger than me, it's much bigger than the moment, yeah? We're trying to get the kids to think about how to be responsible citizens. That's why they go out and clean up, so they start picking up the areas around the receptacles. I think we have to kind of empower the kids in that way, because we're moving beyond the idea, yeah, that it's all about the moment. I love luos. I love the luos and the pride, yeah? My husband is luo, and it's something he talks about, yeah? And you see a lot of this wonderful luo pride, yeah? It's about having nice things, about having the moment, embracing what you have. But unfortunately, the difficulty we have is that things are just for the moment and not for the long term. In the end, we don't see much change. It's been great to see the mayor making some changes. He's been making some very unpopular changes in Kisumu, but I think they're going to have a long-term effect. And he raised the parking cost from like 40 baht to 100 shillings. Did you guys realize that? I didn't realize, and I almost got into a fist fight with the woman. I was like, what? I thought she was joking me. And at first I thought, this is crazy, how can they do that? But then I thought about it, I was like, you know, it actually makes perfect sense. Because someone is thinking about the long term, yeah? About who can afford to park in Kisumu, they can afford to do it, and it's going to raise revenue for Kisumu. The same thing with like, the roads going on, yeah? I love the fact there's two very different kinds of roads construction going on in Kisumu. Right now, if you look on this side, going through Manyata and Migosi, the junction of Kodela, you see this huge overpass being built, and it's going up really fast. And that is kind of like the new era of Kisumu. We're all kind of like, wow, like Kisumu's going to change. And then on the other side of the spectrum, you still have all the potholes being patched up, you know, with some asphalt, and they're rolling it down, patting it with their feet. And that's kind of like where Kisumu has been for a while. So you can see the two extremes, yeah? There's futuristic thinking on one side, and there's momentary, today, survival, self-preservation thinking on the other side, over here. I think that those of us in this room are probably in positions where we're able to influence some of the kids around us, some of the people around us. Personally, I think that Kisumu has enormous potential. I feel, in a way, really privileged to live here at times. Not every day. Some days I'm also in survival mode. I think, oh my God, if I have to spend my time in one more matatu. But in general, there's a lot of potential in Kisumu. If we can stop thinking of what can get me through this moment, what can get me through this day, yeah? And what can get us to the future. Thanks very much.